Hello, YNABers. My name is Jesse Meekum, and this is podcast number 331 for YNAB, where we teach you 4 rules to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck, get out of debt, and save more money. I think I've done something fairly sacrilegious as it relates to budgeting. I will give you a little backstory, and then I will say this, but you must know that this is an experiment. Do not try this at home, unless you would also like to take part in this grand experiment that is clothing spending at the Meekum household. We have 6 kids. They all grow really fast, faster than the weeds outside. And I will tell you right now, I'm not in charge of the clothing purchases because that would be a disaster. I don't know what size any of my kids wear. I don't recognize when something is new that they're wearing or that they're wearing something that we've had passed down over a decade. I don't notice those things. Julie, my awesome wife, does. We used to battle about grocery spending, and then I learned one time that she doesn't care to optimize the spending. To her, it was more important just to get in and get out, get the grocery spending done, and not have the kids melt down. And when she told me that, basically in that exact way, I was humbled. And it was a bit of a call to kind of, she was nicely, she actually was saying it in a very nice way, but she was kind of saying like, dude, back off. Like, back off. Let's stop optimizing grocery spending because that doesn't matter to me. And I'm really glad she did. I want to say we're having kind of a round 2 as it relates to the clothing category. So I know I've mentioned this before, but there's an interesting thing where Julie will buy things online because it is very difficult to get kids to an actual store. And then I've noticed this, stores don't carry what they used to. They'll carry it all online, and you just end up ordering it online, standing at a cash register inside a store, and then it's shipped to you. And then the clothes don't fit quite right, and you have to send it all back. And Julie has this uncanny way that defies the laws of physics where I feel like she's returning more than she's actually purchased. It feels that way. I know it can't be true, but it seems there are always some bags that are to be returned. And sometimes I'm the mailman with that, which makes me less excited about the process. So I will bring home the packages, and I will also bring the packages back and send them on their way when we find out that things didn't work. Long gone are the days where your mom would bring you to Payless Shoe Source and then Mervyn's, and you were outfitted for the year. And I didn't look good, but we were done. I knew I had one shot in the year, and if I didn't find stuff then, I was hosed. And man, I wish sometimes I could go back and be like, dude, don't pick those shorts, man. Those may look good on the mannequin. They will not look good on you. Anyway, that's how clothing was done for me. It is not how clothing is done now, at least in the household that Julie runs. So what would happen is we would budget for clothing. Let's, for easy math, let's say it was $1,000. It's not actually, but let's say it was $1,000. And then I would see spending of, let's say, $1,500 by the 20th of the month. And I would say, whoa, where's this money going to come from? We're rolling with the punches, but this is clothing, not utilities or food. So we would have this discussion, and then she would say, well, don't worry, most of that's going to be taken back. And so I would not worry, but then I have this overspending staring me in the face every time I look at the budget. And my dutiful little iPhone, every time I look at YNAB, it's got this little notification badge saying, you have an overspent category. Maybe you should fix that. And I'm saying, I can't fix it because it's not actually overspent. It's just money kind of in limbo waiting to be returned. And that would annoy the OCD part of me that is a large part. And then I would get back to Julie and say, when are we going to do those? What are the returns? What was this? Oh, that was for the clothing from here. Oh, that's going to be returned. What was this inflow for only this portion? Oh, this store broke up the shipment into 4 different shipments. So Julie, doing the right thing and adding the transaction to her phone, didn't actually work. They broke it all up, and then I'm having to figure out what they are. Nightmare. It was like the clothing category was taking as much time as the rest of the categories combined. I was not liking it. So I would question things like, do we really have to spend this much money? Are the kids' clothing Is kids' clothing really that important? Why can't we just go to the Goodwill and just buy a big bag of things and then, figure it out? And Julie would give well-reasoned arguments rebutting my ideas. And round we would go. Sometimes they were not the most jovial or kind of conversations. Sometimes I was genuinely annoyed, and you could hear the annoyance in my voice. She could tell I was bugged. She could tell I was bugged when I had to return things to a store. She could tell I was bugged when I had to bring a bunch of packages in. She could tell I was bugged when we had to cut down all the boxes and put them in the recycle. This whole churn just was bugging me, everything about it. So, finally, we came up with a very sacrilegious idea. And I put it out here first because this is where I do all of my experiments in public on the podcast. Here is the idea. This is not an endorsement of Nordstrom, but Julie has this emotional attachment to the idea of a Nordstrom credit card. If you have a question, you can ask her about it. I don't know how. Email me and I will pass it along. But she has this emotional attachment to Nordstrom. She falls prey to all of their gimmicks, and she laughs when I point them out because she knows their gimmicks. She still likes that store. So, maybe because their return policy is so friendly. That actually makes a lot of sense now. Anyway, we got a Nordstrom credit card. Now, we did not do it for the points, if there are any. We did not do it for any kind of loyalty. We did it because the Nordstrom card is very distinct from the other only card we use, which is a very plain vanilla Visa card, and then obviously our checking account that gets very little activity. Everything goes on the Visa, everything, until now, where Julie, and I do not carry one, but she carries around this Nordstrom card. All clothing purchases will go on that card. All of them. Not just at Nordstrom. She shops, she's not married to the shopping experience at Nordstrom. Well, she could give you probably 10 reasons why it's so fantastic. But any store, Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic, they're all owned by the same company. I'm out of ideas on other clothing stores. Target, even Costco has clothing. So all of it will go on the Nordstrom card. Now, here's the next bit of sacrilegious behavior in the Meekum household. The Nordstrom card is not on the budget at all. I know. I also am a little bit nervous, but just bear with me here. She has the Nordstrom card. We got it. I immediately went online and set up the online account and set it up to auto pay the balance in full from our checking account, because obviously we don't want to really carry a balance. That would be really sacrilegious. So what the Nordstrom card is effectively doing is it's gathering up all of the activity that I had to deal with in that clothing category, and it's giving me one number at the end of each statement, once a month. It's saying, here are clothing expenditures, net of any returns. So if Julie spends, we budget $1,000, and Julie were to spend that $1,500 and then say, oh no, some of it will be returned. If she claims that the returns will happen so fast and everything will work out so well that when we actually make the payment on the credit card, that will be the only thing that is on the budget. The payment to the Nordstrom card will be a clothing outflow from our YNAB budget. And I won't have to see all the details inside, all of the ins and outs and split shipments and all the things that bugged me. That one card is just for all of clothing. We debated using a prepaid card. We debated using cash. That doesn't work because of the online aspect of this. The prepaid card, I almost went down. I couldn't get comfortable with the fee that we found, at least when we looked, kind of close. So we just went with the card. The payment is automatic. It's one big, fat clothing transaction every single month. And if that goes over budget, then we have a discussion. But if it's within within the clothing budget, if that net payment amount is within the clothing budget, then I'm good to go. I won't even care. We don't have to have any conversations about it at all. I want it to be as boring as the Christmas category, where you just fund it and you leave it alone. I can set it up to where YNAB auto-categorizes the payment to Nordstrom as clothing, and I am done. Now, we have not yet, as of the time of this recording, we have not yet had an actual payment post to the Nordstrom card yet. This is still so brand new that I'm still very scared by it. But I will keep you up to date. I have no idea if this is a good idea. I am trying my best to make our money management situation as frictionless in the household as possible. Because if there's friction, it kills things. You want to talk about the cool stuff, not about what exactly was this transaction for and what about that. No. It's boring. You want to talk about like, hey, what are we going to do with this big pile of money? Where should we go on vacation? How much more debt can we pay off this month? Those kind of conversations are cool. Not the stuff about whether something's going to be returned or not. I lose interest before the conversation even started. So there it is. Fairly sacrilegious experiment. I don't know how it will go. I will keep you posted. If you have any questions for me, feel free to email me, jesse@ynab.com. Also, I rarely ask for this, but I need to start doing this. If you enjoy the YNAB podcast, please give us a 5-star review. Not 4, not 3, but 5. And give us that review wherever you listen to your podcast. Stitcher, iTunes, I don't know. They seem to be all over the place now. Please give me a review. Let me know how you like the podcast. And if you know of someone else that also would benefit from hearing me talk about the clothing category and how it drives me crazy, well, send them the podcast. Until next time, follow YNAB's 4 rules and you will win financially. You've never budgeted like this.